I never thought something as simple as Thanksgiving could reveal so much about my family. To the outside world, we looked like any other close-knit family. Holidays together, shared memories, the occasional bickering over dinner. But behind the scenes? Well, that's a different story. One I'm finally ready to tell. My name's Caleb. I'm the middle child in a family of five, which, let's be honest, often means I got overlooked. My older brother, Daniel, was always the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. Rachel, my younger sister, was the baby of the family, and while she might not have gotten the same amount of attention, she was spoiled in her own way. And then there was me, the one who just blended into the background, unnoticed by everyone. Thanksgiving this year was supposed to be different. Mom had told us a few weeks earlier that the holiday would be a bit more low-key this time around. We're cutting back, you know how it is, she said. With the budget issues and everything, we won't be doing a big feast, but we'll still make sure to spend the day together. It'll be nice. I didn't mind. I was used to the budget talk. In fact, I wanted to believe it. Maybe we could just have a quiet dinner at home, the three of us, and keep things simple. I thought it would be a good chance to actually spend time together as a family, without the usual drama of Rachel and Daniel fighting over who gets the last piece of turkey. But then, the day before Thanksgiving, I got a message from Mom. "Hey Caleb, we're going to cancel dinner tomorrow. Things are tight, and everyone is staying home. Hope you understand. We'll do something next year." I read the message twice, just to make sure I wasn't missing something. Cancel dinner? Wasn't that a little extreme? I mean, sure, money was tight, but we've had rough years before, and it was never a reason to just skip the holiday. But I thought, okay, whatever. If they don't want to do it, I'll just stay home and relax. I didn't think much of it after that, but as the evening rolled in, something about the whole situation felt off. Maybe it was because I knew how much Mom had loved Thanksgiving in the past. Maybe it was the odd way she worded the message, like she was trying to make sure I wouldn't question it. The next morning, I woke up to find my phone buzzing. Instagram. Rachel had posted a picture of a beautifully laid out dinner table. Candles, turkey, the works. The caption read, "So thankful for this family red heart," and tagged Mom, Dad, and Daniel. My heart sank. I froze, staring at the picture, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Rachel had been at Thanksgiving, a beautiful, perfect Thanksgiving dinner. Just like that. I didn't even think twice. I grabbed my jacket, slipped my shoes on, and drove over to Rachel's house. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I had to know. Was this a mistake? Had I been left out again? Were they trying to make me feel like I wasn't part of the family? I arrived at her house about 20 minutes later. The car in the driveway? Mom's. The one next to it? Daniel's. They were all there. The whole family, gathered around, pretending they had canceled Thanksgiving for me, when in reality, they'd gone ahead without me. I walked up to the front door, my hands clenched into fists. I knocked, the sound echoing louder than it should have. Rachel opened the door, smiling like she had no idea what I'd seen. "Oh, hey Caleb. Come on in." Her voice sounded too cheerful, too forced. I stood there for a second, trying to gather myself. I could feel my pulse racing, but I refused to let them see that I was upset. "Hey," I said, my voice steady. "I thought you all weren't celebrating Thanksgiving this year." Her smile faltered, just for a moment. "What do you mean?" she asked, her eyes darting away from mine. I stepped inside, my gaze sweeping over the grand spread of food. The table was full. There was turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, green beans, and pies. I could smell the richness of it all in the air. This wasn't a simple dinner. This was the kind of meal you only had when everything was perfect. I took a slow breath, staring at the feast. Then I turned to Rachel, who was still standing by the door. Mom texted me. She said Thanksgiving was canceled because of budget issues. Everyone was staying home, I said calmly. But it doesn't look like that's what happened here. Rachel blinked a few times, her mouth opening and closing as if she was trying to find the right words. But nothing came out. "Where is everyone?" I asked, trying to keep my voice even. She hesitated, then gestured to the living room, where Mom and Dad were sitting on the couch, chatting. Daniel was already at the table, digging into his plate of food. I walked in, my eyes never leaving Rachel. She stood there, watching me as I made my way toward the couch. "Hey, Mom," I said, forcing a smile, though my stomach churned. "I thought we weren't doing anything for Thanksgiving this year." Mom looked up from her plate, a flash of guilt crossing her face before she quickly masked it with a smile. "Oh, Caleb, Sweetheart, she said in her sweetest tone, we just couldn't cancel this year. You know how it is. We wanted to do something special for Daniel and Rachel. The words stung like a slap in the face. So, you all just decided to go ahead and have this without me, huh? She blinked, her eyes widening slightly, but she tried to laugh it off. It's not like that. We just thought you were too busy with work and didn't want to come. You know, with everything going on. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest, but I kept my voice steady. Right. I see. I guess I didn't realize that family only counts if you're the right kind of family member, huh? I heard Daniel snort from the table, and my eyes snapped to him. What's so funny? He shrugged, a smirk tugging at his lips. Nothing, just the usual drama. Mom shot him a glare, but she didn't speak up. I wasn't going to let this go. I couldn't. So, I said slowly, my eyes locking onto hers. You decided to cancel Thanksgiving for me, but then went ahead and did it anyway without even telling me. Was I really that much of an inconvenience? Mom's smile faltered, and for the first time, I saw her try to mask the guilt. It wasn't like that at all, Caleb. We didn't want to hurt your feelings. I stared at her, my mind racing. How could they do this to me? All the lies, the manipulation, the way they'd made me feel like I was some afterthought? But I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to make this easy for them. I get it now, I said, turning around to leave. You don't want me here, but at least be honest about it next time. And just before I stepped out the door, I heard Rachel call after me. Caleb, wait. But I didn't turn around. And that was only the beginning. I didn't look back when I walked out the door. Honestly, I didn't even know where I was going at that point. I just needed air, space, to think. It wasn't just about Thanksgiving anymore. It wasn't just about being left out of a family dinner. It was the lies, the manipulation, the way they'd always acted like my time, my presence, wasn't worth as much as anyone else's. As I drove home, I could feel the weight of everything crashing down on me. I had been there for them for so long, helping with bills when Dad's work had slowed down, babysitting Rachel's kids every time she needed a break. I'd even taken out a loan to buy Mom and Dad the car they'd been eyeing for months, something they desperately needed since their old one was falling apart. They had been talking about it for a while, and I thought it would be a good way to show them I cared. But that day, as I sat in my car, the harsh reality of what they had done hit me like a punch to the gut. The car, no, the gift, suddenly felt like a mistake. Why should I continue helping people who so clearly didn't care about me? It was like I was invisible to them unless they needed something. And this Thanksgiving fiasco? It wasn't the first time they'd made me feel small. I made a decision right there. I wasn't going to buy that car anymore. I was done playing the role of the obedient son, the one who cleaned up their messes, the one they could always count on when things got tough. They could figure it out on their own for once. I picked up my phone and sent a text to the dealership. I had put a down payment on the car, but they hadn't processed the full paperwork yet. Cancel the order. I'm no longer interested in purchasing the car. I stared at the screen for a moment, the finality of it sinking in. It felt good, liberating even. For the first time, I felt like I was taking control of my life. They would have to figure things out like everyone else. The next day, Mom called me. I'd been expecting it. My phone lit up with her name, and I let it ring a few times before answering. Caleb, she said, her voice softer than it had been when I'd left the night before. What's going on? I haven't heard from you since yesterday. I didn't want to let my emotions get the best of me, but I could feel the anger rising in my chest. Oh, nothing much. Just thinking about things. There was a pause on the other end. I could hear her breathing, like she was trying to figure out how to handle this. I know things were a little tense last night, but we didn't mean to hurt your feelings. It's just that you're so busy all the time. We thought it was better not to make you feel guilty. I clenched my jaw. So you lied to me. You made me think we were all staying home. You didn't even invite me. I'm not stupid, Mom. She hesitated again, like she was going to explain herself, but then the conversation took a turn I wasn't expecting. Caleb, about the car. What's going on? We heard you canceled it. I could feel my stomach drop. So, they'd heard already. Yeah, I did. I said, trying to keep my tone even. I don't think I want to buy it anymore. There was a long silence. Then she asked, why? I wanted to tell her everything. The lies, the manipulation, how it felt like I was always the last option, the person they went to when everyone else turned their backs on them. But I couldn't bring myself to say it. Not yet. I don't think it's the right time, I said instead, my voice cold. She didn't buy it. I could hear the sharpness in her tone when she responded. You're not going to do this now, are you? After everything we've done for you. I could feel the anger bubbling up, but I held it in. I had made a choice, and now I had to stick to it. I'm sorry, but I think it's better this way. Mom's voice cracked just slightly as she said, "You really don't want to help us anymore, do you?" I wasn't sure if I was more hurt or angry. It was like she was using guilt to manipulate me again, the same way she'd always done. But I wasn't falling for it. "No, I don't," I said, surprising even myself with the finality in my voice. "I'm done." There was another silence, but this one felt different. This one was heavy. When she spoke again, it wasn't the motherly, sweet tone she always used. It was sharper, more demanding. "You can't just throw everything away like this, Caleb. You owe us. We're family." I took a deep breath, trying to keep my composure. "I'm sorry, but I can't keep pretending everything's okay. You never asked if I wanted to be part of the family. You just expected me to be there when you needed me. And I'm done with it." The line went silent again, and for a moment, I thought she was going to hang up on me. But then, just as I was about to say something else, I heard her voice. "Fine, don't help us. But don't expect us to be there for you when you need something either." I almost laughed at that. "I guess we'll see, won't we?" And with that, I hung up the phone. I was done. It didn't take long for the fallout to begin. The next time I saw Mom and Dad, it was at a family gathering. It wasn't even a big event, just a random Sunday afternoon when they thought we could all get together to talk things through. But as soon as I walked in, I could tell something was off. Mom and Dad were sitting at the kitchen table, their eyes narrowed as they watched me walk in. Daniel and Rachel were already there, but they didn't look at me. "Caleb," Dad said, his voice stiff. "We need to talk." I didn't sit down. Instead, I stood by the door, arms crossed. "What is there to talk about?" Mom's voice was tight. "You've really let us down this time, Caleb. We thought you were the responsible one. We thought you understood family." I raised an eyebrow. "That's rich coming from you." Rachel scoffed from the side. "Don't start, Caleb. You're the one who's being dramatic." "You should have told us what was really going on, Caleb," Daniel added, his voice dripping with annoyance. "But no, you had to make everything about you." I felt my blood start to boil. How was I the one being selfish here? It wasn't me who had canceled the Thanksgiving dinner and lied about it. I didn't think I had to explain myself, I said, my tone icy. "But if you want the truth, I'm tired of being the one who cleans up your messes. I'm done being the fallback. I'm done." Mom's face twisted with something between guilt and anger. "You're being unreasonable." "I don't think so," I said. "You just don't like it when I stand up for myself, do you?" "Don't make this harder than it has to be," she snapped. "You'll regret this, Caleb. You're throwing everything away." "Everything." "I'm not throwing anything away," I said. "I'm just deciding to stop giving when I get nothing in return. But you'll figure that out when it's too late." And just like that, the walls between us were solidified. The days that followed felt like walking through thick fog. Every time I picked up my phone, there were missed calls, voicemails, and texts from Mom and Dad. They were desperate, desperate to get me back on their side, desperate to undo what I'd done. But the more they tried, the more I realized just how much they depended on me for their comfort, their stability. And I wasn't going to let that guilt trip me into returning to the same toxic pattern. One evening, a few days after that uncomfortable gathering at their house, I got a text from Mom. "We're so sorry, Caleb. We've been under a lot of stress lately. We just wanted to keep things simple. Can we talk?" I didn't respond. I stared at the text for what felt like an eternity, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. What was there to say? They hadn't changed. They never would. But still, the familiar pang of guilt twisted in my stomach. I'd always been the one to hold the family together, the one who kept things from falling apart. But now, standing firm in my decision, I ignored that nagging voice. The next morning, Mom showed up at my door. I wasn't surprised. It was their way of breaking down my walls, forcing me to see their side. She had a way of making her problems feel like mine, wrapping them up in a way that made me feel like I owed her an explanation. I opened the door, my arms crossed. "What's going on?" She looked tired and small. She forced a smile. "I just wanted to come and talk. I know you're upset, but we can work through this. Please, Caleb. We're your family. We need you." I couldn't believe how easily she slid into her victim role, but I didn't let it show. "You need me? Is that how you see it?" Her eyes welled up. "You've always been the one who understood, Caleb. You were the one I could count on when everything else fell apart. But now you're shutting me out, and I don't understand why." The words stung, but I couldn't let her win this time. "Maybe it's because you've never really seen me. You've always used me, my time, my money, my effort, like I'm just supposed to drop everything when you need something. I'm tired of being your safety net, Mom. She wiped her eyes, a slow tear sliding down her cheek. Please, Caleb. I'm not trying to use you. I just, I don't know how to handle everything anymore. The bills, your dad's health. It's too much for me. I just want things to be like they were. I miss my son. I almost gave in. I could see it, the desperation, the fear of losing me. It was all right there, in the way she clung to her words, in the way she made everything sound like it was falling apart without me. But I had to remind myself of what I had already seen. The games, the manipulation, the way they always made me feel like I was the one who had to hold it all together. No, Mom, I said, shaking my head. You don't get it. This isn't about me. It's about you and the way you treat me. You only see me when it's convenient for you. I'm not just your backup plan anymore. I can't be. Her expression faltered. I could tell it hurt her, but I couldn't care anymore. This wasn't about fixing her. This was about fixing me. But she didn't back off. Instead, she tried a different tactic. Please, Caleb. You know we've always taken care of you. And now, when we need you most, you're turning your back on us. Is this really how you want things to be? It wasn't lost on me that the "we've always taken care of you" line was the same one she had always used when she needed me to bend. It was a guilt trap, a way to make me feel like I owed them, even though I was the one who'd been there through thick and thin. And then, just when I thought she couldn't pull out any more stops, she dropped the bomb. Your dad, he's really struggling, Caleb. The doctors said he might need surgery soon. He's not doing well. Don't you want to be there for him? That hit harder than I thought it would. The guilt started creeping in. Dad's health wasn't something I could ignore, and the thought of him going through something serious without me there. I didn't want to be that person. I didn't want to be the one who wasn't there when they needed me most. But then I remembered. They had lied. They had lied to me about Thanksgiving, about everything. They didn't care about my feelings, not really. They wanted me to do their bidding, and I couldn't fall into that trap again. I took a deep breath. I'm not going to keep sacrificing myself for you, Mom. Not like this. I've been through this before, and I'm not doing it again. If you want to fix things, you're going to have to do it without me. Her face turned pale. She had nothing left to say, no more cards to play. Her hand had been exposed, and she knew it. She stood there for a moment, and for a second, I thought she might just break down and beg me to help. But she didn't. Instead, she straightened up, her posture stiffening. Fine, if that's what you want. Just don't come crying to me when you need something. Don't expect me to be there when you realize you've thrown everything away. I stared at her, my chest tight. I already made my decision. With that, she turned and walked away. But before she left, she gave me one last look, one last, desperate glance, as if she were hoping I'd change my mind. I didn't. The days after that felt like I was walking a tightrope, balancing between the guilt of cutting ties and the relief of finally standing up for myself. But it didn't take long for me to realize they weren't done yet. A few days later, Rachel called me. Caleb, you've really screwed things up. Mom and Dad are in pieces right now. You're breaking their hearts. Are you really going to keep pushing them away? I couldn't help but roll my eyes. Rachel, you know exactly what's going on. You've always been part of this. You've watched it happen. But I'm done. I'm not their backup anymore. Don't you dare hang this over us, Rachel snapped. They've always been there for you. You can't just throw everything away because you're mad about Thanksgiving. I'm not just mad about Thanksgiving, Rachel, I said, my voice firm. I'm done being manipulated. You don't get to treat me like I'm nothing and then expect me to show up when it's convenient for you. She was silent for a moment, probably taken aback by my tone. You're making a huge mistake, Caleb. Just wait. You'll see. And I did. I saw exactly what was coming next. They weren't going to give up so easily. The desperation would only get worse, and I wasn't sure I was ready for it. But I had made my choice. I wasn't turning back. Not this time. The next few weeks were a blur of texts, calls, and unexpected visits from family members. Everyone had an opinion. Everyone had something to say about my decision, but none of them really understood what it was like to always be the one holding everything together. It was exhausting. They had all expected me to just keep coming back, to fold when things got tough. But I wasn't going to. It was a cold Saturday afternoon when Mom showed up at my door again. I wasn't surprised to see her. She had this way of just showing up, no warning, no preparation. It was like she thought if she kept pushing, I'd eventually give in. I opened the door, and for a moment, neither of us said anything. I could see it in her eyes, this strange mix of anger, hurt, And something else, desperation. She took a deep breath and spoke, her voice cracking slightly. I can't do this, Caleb. I can't keep pretending like everything's fine. Your dad's health is getting worse, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do anymore. I'm sorry. I know we've messed up, but you're my son. I need you. It felt like a punch to the gut. The old me would have folded. The old me would have rushed to comfort her, to fix everything. But I wasn't that person anymore. Mom, I began, my voice steady, I can't keep sacrificing myself just because you need me. I've been doing it my whole life, and I can't anymore. You say you need me, but you're not seeing what's best for me. You never have. She stayed silent, letting the weight of my words settle in the air between us. Finally, she stepped back, her shoulders slumping. So, this is it? You're really going to leave us like this? I didn't answer right away. The silence stretched between us, heavy with everything that had led up to this moment. It was clear. There was no going back, not this time. I'm not leaving you, Mom, I said quietly. I'm just finally standing up for myself. For the first time in my life. She didn't say anything after that. She just walked away, leaving me standing there, wondering if she would ever truly understand what I'd done. A few days later, I got a message from Rachel. Mom's asking if you've seen the pictures of the new car. She wants to know why you didn't help. I stared at the message for a while, trying to figure out what to do with it. There it was again, another attempt to make me feel guilty, to get me back in line. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say. That's when I made the final decision. I took the money I had saved for a new car for them and used it to buy myself something that felt right for me. It wasn't a luxury car, nothing too flashy. But it was mine, something I could be proud of, something that didn't feel like I was bending to their will. It was my way of taking back control. I spent the rest of the evening with friends, celebrating the fact that for once, I was putting myself first. It felt strange, almost foreign at first, but then, as I relaxed into it, it felt like freedom. And that's how it ended. Mom and Dad? They never apologized. They never came to terms with what happened, but it didn't matter anymore. I had set boundaries, and though they weren't happy about it, I wasn't going to let their anger or disappointment control me any longer. So, what do you all think? Did I do the right thing by finally standing up for myself? Or should I have tried harder to work things out with them? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.